Ladies and gentlemen, Doc and Prof here, Debate Amongst Friends, doing a quick Super Bowl 53 recap. Had some up and down moments, a lot of punts. I think a historic punt, if I wasn't mistaken, but that was the highlight of the evening. Professor John Gotti, what was your initial thoughts on this game?
Honestly, I felt like I was watching a soccer game for a little bit because there was so many punts happening. It was ridiculous.
It was pretty ridiculous, and I just was so disappointed with the Rams. Even though I expected the Patriots to win, I was so disappointed in the Rams and their offense.
Well, and that's fair, and I think that's the general consensus coming out of the game was the Rams' offense basically just got completely neutralized. From and it's so weird because you think like, well, the Rams' offense didn't play that well. That would mean they got blown out or something like that. No, the defense came to play. The defense did its job. The offense didn't do its job. And I feel like, and a lot of people were saying this afterwards, like a Dion, like a Stephen A. Smith, they were saying that someone on the defensive side should have been the Super Bowl MVP for the Patriots. But honestly, it really was Julian Edelman. Like I can't give them complete credit because what did the defense for the Patriots really do that was more miscues on the Rams?
I agree. I think the Rams offense got away with running the same play. In particular against the Cowboys, they ran the same play where the receiver comes in motion, jet sweep. And they hand it to him maybe 2-3 times. And in this game, the Patriots were just like, listen, we know you're going to run this jet sweep. We're not falling for it. We're just going to continue to go up the field. And Tony Romo kept saying it the whole game. You can't go side to side with the Rams.
No.
You got to go straight up the field. And that's what the Patriots defense did. Now, if you listen to our last show, our prediction show, I said, and I quote, Gigi, Gronk, and Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore. Yep.
I said
I got
that,
you, bro.
I appreciate it. I said that, it would be up to those two, and they both made critical plays at key points in the game. Granted, Gilmore did get away with a hold at the end, which was my burning moment where I was going to set my emoji right on Facebook, like I said, but he grabbed Cooks' hand at the last moment and held it. Referees missed it, but he definitely grabbed his hand and avoided getting burnt.
Are we really going to start talking about these calls for this game? Because the first call of the game had me on the floor rolling with laughter as the same quarterback who was the subject of many ridicule for a missed pass interference or, unnecessary roughness, whatever you want to call it, hitting a defensive receiver. It doesn't really matter. He got called for the first penalty of the game. And re-looking back at it, and I loved how the commentators kept trying to say, yeah, it really was a penalty. It wasn't a penalty. That was hilarious. I was like, wow, that was the ultimate, what do we call it, basketball? Makeup call.
Well, Gene Stetzler came on immediately, and they brought him on to basically say, hey, was that a foul? And, he pointed out the rule right away. It didn't seem like he had to think about it or pull some out of his butt. So, I didn't mind it. I did think it was a bit soft because
it was definitely soft.
I wanted, it's a clean hit. It was good. It's football, but
it's football.
It's not in
the Super Bowl.
It's not in the confines of the rules, so that's something that they'll have to, look into next year. But ultimately, that didn't really make or break the game. I think
no, absolutely not.
I think that no call at the end was more of a makeup call because, I think they would have possibly scored on that particular play had he not grabbed his arm. But that's here or there. Ultimately, on the other side, Gronk with the big catches, I would say, in that one drive where they did score a touchdown. all game. They threw to Julian Edelman. He just seemed to be wide open the entire game.
The whole game.
Yeah.
The whole game.
Nobody else could catch anything. It just seems like Edelman was the only one out there playing pitch and catch. And I definitely think he deserved the MVP.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you. And just piggybacking what you were saying, though, that last drive, that's the kind of drive that makes or breaks, being a legend or not.
Right.
They just stay completely composed. And the Rams defense, as great as they played for the 3 quarters, they were just out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
They were just completely out of gas.
That's true. And I think the defense played well, and you can tell a good defense. They played all the way up until the end when they ran out of gas. But, to hold the Patriots to 13 points was pretty impressive. But ultimately, the game was, a defensive game, which,
It was a defensive game.
I enjoyed it, I guess.
There was some moments where it was kind of snoozy, though. And I enjoy a good defensive game, but, there was times where it just looked unmoving.
Well,
there weren't really any defensive plays per se. For the Rams at least, there was a lot of 3 and outs.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. They went I think it went 0-7, I think, in third down conversions in the first half.
Yep.
So we got a chance to just watch
Finished
New
the game
England.
with 3-13.
Right, we got a chance to just watch New England kind of go up and down the field. Their kicker missed the field goal, which was surprising.
Which is so weird because New England only went 3 for 12 on third down conversions too.
It didn't seem like it. It seemed like they were converting.
It didn't seem like it at all.
Yeah. So it was a bad game, but ultimately, it's what we got. The halftime show wasn't really that good either. In fact, the podcast beast mother said that they should have had some jiggling girls out there to spruce it up a little bit, which I found hilarious. Tickled me a little bit.
Mama Lesnar.
Yeah. But I wasn't thinking that they should have had any girls out there. That's why it was so funny that my mom thought they should have had some girls out there. But ultimately, it was kind of weird. Adam Levine and Maroon 5 were out there, and then they sprinkled in some Travis Scott. They put a dab of Big Boy out there, and then I think somewhere along the line they drizzled a choir on this performance. That was terrible.
Not even just that, but the SpongeBob little.
Well, some people
nod there.
Some people love that. I don't know. Some people really love that. That was the best part.
Some people. The funniest part is after that, and we'll talk about the halftime show real quickly. Some people were saying that they would rather actually seen that band play versus what they got at the halftime show.
And I understand. Because like I said, you were expecting a full Travis Scott performance, just my song is playing for a few seconds and I'm going to now lay myself into the crowd. I don't even know if he got carried off by the crowd or if he, just, crawled off stage. I have no idea. Hopefully he didn't pay for his flight to Atlanta because it was such a waste of time.
I just felt bad for the people who were actually at the game, especially those that spent, well over $3,000 for a ticket to get the game that we got, as well as the halftime show that that they got as well too. Because for the most part, most of the people at the game isn't really there to watch the game.
Right.
They're really there to see the Super Bowl halftime performance. This segment is brought to you by Gaming Among Friends, where for your daily life you should always remember to hashtag LASG and neutralize those targets.
And I think the game literally had the elements to be a shootout, where some people had the score as much as 38 and 40
30
points.
Something. Yep.
Yeah, but this game really was lackluster, and I think the game made the halftime show lackluster. So, ultimately, I did compare it to the Fire Festival because it just didn't bring the noise. Ultimately, the Fire Festival didn't happen, so that was really, really terrible. But this game never really picked up to the expectations that we all had for it. So, I think based on our predictions, I'm glad I went with the Patriots. I really wanted the Rams to win because it would have signified, a new beginning, a new era. But ultimately, the Brady, Belichick, and New England Patriot era shall continue. Any final thoughts about the Super Bowl in general? Like anything else that stood out to you?
Yeah, actually, Jared Goff's post game interview. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it or watch it, but he was definitely, taking onus on the offense, saying that he should have definitely played a lot better. Like he was just being really transparent, and immediately as I was reading a lot of the comments on the video that I was watching, they immediately started making comparisons with Cam Newton after he lost the Super Bowl.
There was nothing that Jared Goff could have said that would have made me want to hear anything he had to say after the game. Only person I would have probably listened to is someone on the defensive line, because those are really the only guys that really like showed up. And I hope something does come out, as my brother said. Todd Gurley must really, really be hurt, because to only play a few handful of snaps, something must have been going on. But it's neither here nor there.
He only had 11 rushes.
Yeah, now it's irrelevant now because they lost. It's the last game of the year, as we always say. It's the last game of the season. You gotta lay it all on the line. Can't hold back now. That's it. So, ultimately, we got what the Rams could offer, and it just wasn't enough.
It just wasn't enough. They was obviously still sleeping. At least the offense was.
Right. So 13-3 was your final score. Let us know what you thought about the game with the Patriots and the Rams. I'm definitely interested to see your take. I know some people called out the entire Rams. Some people said we need to stop hating on Tom Brady and give the man his due. Welcome him to the 6-ring club now. He's up there.
Yep.
The Patriots are now up there with the Steelers. And I have a feeling if he plays for another 4 or 5 years, they'll get their 7th ring in no time.
And that's literally my final analysis of the NFL season. The AFC just needs to get better. The Chiefs were there.
Mm-hmm.
They were there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a young quarterback against Bill Belichick. That's what I said during my predictions for that game. And I was going to use the same thing for my predictions for the Super Bowl, but I'm like, something is different with this Rams team. But obviously, Belichick and his system being able to neutralize the threats on the offensive side of the ball, and it led them to another victory. So, big kudos to Belichick, big kudos to Brady. Brady is definitely on the Mount Rushmore when it comes to, greatest football players of all time.
That's right.
And, we just have to leave it at that.
But tune in. We'll definitely have some more material for you. We're going to talk about the NBA trade deadline. Will Anthony Davis finally get traded before the week is up? You're going to hear some of those reports coming out. We will be right here delivering that news on Debate Amongst Friends.